When we last left off, our commenter and believer in objective morality had agreed that, based on his God's instructions, his objective moral code made it a moral duty to kill a woman who couldn't show evidence of a broken hymen on her wedding night. And this was after we had established that a woman's hymen can break prior to intercourse, or not even during intercourse. So we're talking about a moral code which allows for the murder of innocent women. He first denied saying that, but clearly did, as I showed in our last video. Asking religious people such questions is important because anyone can say they believe in their God's objective morality. That's easy. What's not so easy is acting on that belief, demonstrating one's conviction. Faith must be put into action. So the question then becomes, if killing women who can't show evidence of a broken hymen on their wedding night is an objective moral good, why aren't you doing that now? The field is wide open as women today readily admit to having sex outside marriage. Our commenter's answer was a complete cop-out. We are not under Old Testament law or Israeli rule. Of course, he couldn't show me where God says we should suspend the objective moral laws of the universe when conditions are not ideal. Nor can I imagine a righteous, all-powerful God allowing such a suspension under any circumstance. God certainly wouldn't allow that if he is a moral being who cares about us acting morally and removing these evil women from our midst. I guess our commenter would also fault the people of modern Israel for not bringing back the practice, as they literally are living under Israeli rule. Next, he tried to get himself off the hook by suggesting that his standing is insufficient. Am I the legal authority here? I guess our judges, lawmakers, and police are shirking their moral duty, but our commenter's objective source for morality says nothing about the need for any legal authority. On the contrary, Deuteronomy 22:21 says that the men of the city shall stone her with stones that she die. And our commenter makes it clear that God's objective moral law is not bound by time or place. Quote, I really do believe that morality is objective, absolute, universal, unchanging, and applies to all men for all time. I believe that's checkmate. And I guess you ladies are off the hook. This guy believes in his objective morality as much as I do. I don't even think he believes in the supposedly all-powerful God of Abraham. His actions certainly say otherwise. He's so full of shit his blue eyes have turned brown. We have a name for people who believe in and act on the tribal war God of Abraham's objective morality. Terrorists. The Taliban, ISIL, Al-Qaeda. They're the true believers. They take God's commandments seriously and trust that whatever happens to them because they're doing God's will be rewarded. If not now, certainly in the next life. In defending the genocide in Canaan, William Lane Craig said that the murder of babies was an infinite good because they went straight to heaven. So there are no excuses for not acting on God's commands. There's clearly a good, perhaps even an infinite good, in doing God's will, whether you see that good or not, however horrific it might appear to you in the moment. That is what faith is all about. If you believe in God's objective morality, you don't get to question, reason, make excuses, or substitute your own subjective feelings and thoughts for God's objective, absolute, universal, unchanging, and timeless moral will. Your job is to follow through and remain faithful to God's moral law, which includes, but is not limited to, treating women like property, slavery, the murder of innocent women, homosexuals, witches, Sabbath breakers, people of other religions, or none. If you say you believe in the so-called objective morality of the tribal war God of Abraham, and you're not willing to do your moral duty, then it's time for you to sit down and shut the f*** up, you cowardly, faithless sacks of shit. Satire comes in lots of flavors. There's the amped up, overtuned feeding frenzy of mockery kind. And then there's satire that leaves you laughing and thinking as a result. That's what the Mr. Deity channel's all about.